All right, judging from the number of emails that I'm getting about training locks, I am guessing a lot of you guys are getting these in your mailboxes. These are great picks, but it's always nice to have a good training lock. And I wish I could give you the name of a good training lock, but there's so many of them out there. The dealers change so fast, the links go dead. There's no point in posting one in the description. So instead, I'd like to give you some guidelines. And I've got one here. This is a little HPP. Don't get focused on this. What you're really looking for is a lock that's priced less than $20, probably even less than $10. Those are all good choices. And then if it's made in Taiwan or China or Hong Kong, somewhere like that, those are also big pluses. So when you look at the advertisement, they'll show you a picture of the key. Make sure it's a disc detainer. Sometimes they show you the keyway as well. So that usually helps you out quite a bit. What I would say, though, is if you see the advertisement for companies like Anchor Loss or Gerda or Abloy, yeah, probably not a good choice for a beginner lock. Stay with the inexpensive ones, and I think you'll be safe. So let's give this little HPP a shot here. Get this dude open. Get all that out of here. All right, the first thing you want to do, check your key. More than once, I found a lock straight from the factory where the lock didn't work. This one, thank goodness, appears to work just fine. Take a look at your key and your keyway. Again, you're a beginner. You want to know how many discs you're dealing with. So all you got to do is just count the cuts on here. So, 1, 2, that's a double right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's at least 5, maybe as many as 7, because that one could be a 0 cut disc and that one could be a 0 cut disc as well, or one or both. A way to be sure is look in the keyway. Get yourself a flashlight, look down in there, and you should be able to count your discs. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting 6 discs on the inside of this little guy. All right, first thing we want to do is take a flat piece of steel, this is an old tensioner, and rotate all the discs clockwise, and that way, as soon as you put your pick in, it's already tensioning. If you don't, if it's completely in the counterclockwise, and you put your pick in there and you start trying to tension it, as soon as you get everything clamped up, you're going to have to rotate it quite a distance. So you might as well start from a known position. Start in the fully tensioned position, and that way when you insert your pick, there's no fiddling around with getting everything positioned properly. All right, one of the biggest challenges for new pickers is keeping the pick straight. If it gets a little bit cockeyed, like left or right or up and down, whatever, all these different axes, what will happen is that pick tip won't go through the slots in those discs. So while I usually pick these by hand, I've been doing this a while. As a beginner, if I had to do it all over again, I would have clamped these up in a vise. And that way I don't have to worry about keeping the lock and everything straight. I only have to control the pick and get a feel for what's going on inside the lock. So let's do that. Let's remove that variable for new pickers. Let me mount this in a vise, and I'll show you how to hold this for best control. All right, that ought to do it. What we're going to do now is line up the tip of the pick with the prongs, and it'll make it a little bit easier to insert. Now, the one thing you want to check, make sure, you notice how the keyway is sideways, and the prongs on this one are also sideways. That way I know when I slide this in there, I'm already tensioning. It's already get in there. Come on now. Play nice. There we go. It's already tensioning, but now my handles are easy for me to get to. If it were the opposite, like this, it would be difficult for me to hold. So line up your prongs, and the way you do that is simply by loosening up these two things and rotating that prong 90 degrees. There's flat spots on all 4 sides of it, so make sure it's going to be comfortable for you. And slide it in. It takes a little jiggling here. Get in there. I might have misaligned that first one, when I was showing off. All right, slide your pick tip all the way to the rear. Once it's all the way in the back, won't go any further. Now what you got to do is apply a little tension to it. Let me get this centered so everything is going to be focusing. And then what you're going to do is you're going to extract the pick until the tip is only engaging that top disc, the tensioning disc, not the top 2 discs. And there we go right there. At that point, grab it like this. Don't grab it by the full leverage. New pickers tend to over-tension these things. Probably not a good thing for that tip. So you just have to put a little bit of tension, and I'm going to hold it just like that and use this finger to control this piece so it doesn't fall in and out and just flop around. I'm going to control it. All right, so apply a little tension, And now just jiggle back and forth while you extract the tip. And what will happen is you'll bump up against that very last disc. Okay, you're bumping up against the back side of him. Now rotate him a little bit until he falls inside of that disc, just like that. And now you're ready to pick the first disc. Hopefully he's the binder. Usually they bind in the back of the lock first. Let's find out if that's true today. All right, apply a little tension and get in there. And I got nothing. All right, he is not tensioning today. Okay, just move up the stack, do the same thing for each of the discs, position it perfectly, and nothing. He's not binding. He's not binding. Dang it. There he is. It happens to the opposite of what Bill wants to show. It's binding at the opposite end, and you rarely see that, but we'll take it. I think that's a gate. So now we're just going to go backwards. All right, if that one I just tried to pick it, I rotated him, I didn't hit a gate. Don't leave your discs laying at odd angles. If you picked it, leave it at the pick position. But if you didn't pick it like that one, go ahead and push it all the way back to the fully clockwise. And that way later, if you've got to go back, you know that anything that's fully clockwise is either in the correct position, i.e. already picked and in the gate, or it still needs to be picked. So that one probably still needs to be picked. Let's keep looking. Okay, that definitely was a gate. So I'm going to leave him there. Oops. Let me just double check that. Yep, that's a gate. That's not a gate, so I'm going to push him back. Oop. I felt a real slight turn on the core there. I'm going to call that a gate. Push him back. All right, push him back. I am close. I can tell by how the core turned for me. I believe that's a gate. I believe that's a gate. All right, so we had a couple down here still in the 90 that weren't quite right. Oh, there we go. Oh, it started to turn on me. There we go. We just turned and we have an open. All right, guys, it's not that difficult. This one was kind of odd because for some reason it tensioned at the top instead of the bottom. Just let the lock tell you what it needs. Don't go in like I did with a preconceived idea that it's going to start tensioning in the back, because clearly it doesn't all the ways. And this lock is a perfect example of that. Let the lock tell you which disc is tensioning, and that's the one you pick. Find the gate. If you find the gate, leave it in the gate. If you don't, rotate it all the way back to the clockwise position so that you can come back and more easily identify the discs that are yet to be picked. Anyway, guys, that's how you do it. Appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay legal, and don't buy all the cheap locks, man. I need some of them. Thanks, guys.